Hello and welcome back to Bookmark Chronicles. Today we're going to talk about season 2 of Shadow and Bone. So I did do a video talking about season 1 of Shadow and Bone. If you have not seen that yet, I will have that linked in the cards and the description for you. And in that video I said that I felt like we were setting up for a merge of Siege and Storm, the second book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and Six of Crows, the first in that duology. It kind of was that, it kind of wasn't. It was kind of a merge of Siege and Storm, Ruin and Rising, and a little bit of Crooked Kingdom. I haven't read the series in a while, perhaps I'm forgetting, but it felt like a lot of the things that happened in this season were things that happened at the end of Crooked Kingdom. I think that's right, so I'll get into all that in a minute. Obviously there will be spoilers for both season 1 and 2 of Shadow and Bone, and there may be some spoilers for all of the Grishaverse books. Definitely Siege and Storm, definitely Ruin and Rising, a little bit of the Six of Crows duology, and honestly a little bit of the King of Scars duology as well. So if you have not yet read King of Scars, I will try to warn you before I say anything, but a lot of things were mixed from like the last 5 books in this universe. Okay, so things that I was looking forward to were Nikolai and Wylan, Tolya and Tamar, and seeing the Sea Whip. And one of my biggest complaints from last season was the unnecessary racism that they added. They made a big deal out of the fact that Alina would be biracial, and the only thing that really came out of that was them adding a bunch of unnecessary racism that only she is dealing with. Now at the end of this series, it does seem like perhaps that will come a little bit more into play in season 3, but the racism still wasn't exactly addressed, and therefore I still feel like it was completely unfucking necessary. So my review of season 1 was a little more structured. For this one, I'm just gonna run down the list of plot points that I wrote down as I was watching. Starting off with the introduction of Tolya and Tamar. I absolutely love them. I was so excited to get them, and I really liked their entrance, like their very first moments on scene. I really enjoyed. I love Tolya. One thing that was interesting is that they murdered Tanta Helene and the Crows got framed for it. She was in season 1, right? I feel like she was. That was an interesting thing. There were a lot of changes, a lot of additions, and then a lot of merging of different storylines. And I thought that was interesting because it makes it a little bit more difficult to predict where it's gonna go in season 3. Hopefully that'll finally be the Ice Court heist season. But then what they're gonna do with Alina and Mal and some of the other characters, I'm not quite sure yet. Going back to the racism, constant racism when she's in Ravka, but nothing when she's in Novia Zem. In fact, those people decide to protect her, which is interesting because it's mostly inhabited by Black people, almost as if white people are the problem. I like the initial introduction between Nina and Inej, where Nina calls Kaz and Jesper the funny guns and the angry hat, which is pretty fitting. I like that we're getting a lot more of Nina in general. I felt like in season 1 we didn't get nearly enough of her. I mean, I've said this before and I'm gonna keep saying it. I don't give a damn about Matthias. I do not care for that man at all. He is the only Crow that I don't like. So every time it went back to him, I would literally be like, who is this dude? And I'm like, oh right, this is Matthias. Matthias is in Hellgate. Right. That is the thing that happens, I know this. The outside of Hellgate looks really cool. Like I said, couldn't care less about Matthias. I love Wylan. I love Jesper and Wylan together. I felt like all of their moments were cute. I thought it was interesting that they had previously met, and from what it seemed like, it's like they hooked up and then Wylan disappeared the next day, thinking that Jesper would have done the same if he had woken up first, and then they kind of addressed that. And I like that. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting them to have any history. Jesper's shooting scene was also really good, when they were in the carriage and they get stuck under the carriage and Wylan's like, now is not the time to have this conversation, but then Jesper does his thing. I really like that scene. I actually really liked a lot of the action sequences. Jesper's, Tolya's, Inej's, all of them were really good. Nina did some fun stuff. She was being the badass that she is. Alina punching Nikolai in the face. That was great. I wasn't expecting that. Speaking of Nikolai, Nikolai is my favorite character in the books, and I know this is gonna upset a lot of people, but I don't love him as much in the series. Nikolai wasn't giving what I expected him to give, and I think Tolya is actually my replacement for Nikolai when it comes to the show. I am obsessed with Tolya, but Nikolai, I'm not really feeling it. I don't know what it is. And I don't think it's the actor. When the casting was revealed, I was like, oh yeah, I could see him as Nikolai, because there was like fan art that reminded me of him, so it worked. But I don't know, maybe I'm just not feeling his humor. I'm not getting what I got from him in the books. And I'm not the only one that feels that way. I have confirmation. One of my friends also feels that way, but just saying. Zoya is no longer a racist bitch in this one. I mean, she's still a bitch. She's just not racist. The tension of Kaz and Inej, or Kanej. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, as always. This is like the one slow burn romance where I'm not like feeling secondhand embarrassment. I don't know why, but I love it. My absolute least, is it my least favorite? I think it is. My absolute least favorite book in the entire Grishaverse is Siege and Storm, and that is solely due to Mal because he's a fucking bitch. And so when Nikolai proposes the proposal and Mal like tells Alina it's up to her and that she should consider it because it could be helpful and everything, I was like, oh my god, Mal's not a bitch. And then a little while later I was like, actually he's still a bitch because he is. It was a very slight moment of, okay, maybe I don't hate you. Just kidding, I 100% do. I still do think that they did a good job with Mal in the first season because he was actually likable. I didn't hate him as much. They didn't do the whole him fucking Zoya thing, and I think that was really nice because it just took out unnecessary bullshit. I still don't like Mal in general though, if I'm being totally real, so there's that. The bitch who was sucking up to the Darkling and following him around like a little fucking puppy, who was that? I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, I feel like she was sort of a replacement for Zoya because it was Zoya who was constantly like vying for his attention, trying to prove herself as the best and all of that, and then this random bitch was thrown in there instead because Zoya had already turned on him because of her family. I'm not tripping, right? She wasn't in the book. I mean, and if she was, oh well, but whatever. Her, couldn't stand that bitch. Jinya and Baghra being locked up together, that was interesting. Not what I expected. And at first I didn't think they were gonna give Jinya her eye patch, but I'm glad they did because I like it. I was gonna wait for this point because it happens later on, but where the fuck is David? Where is David? Because he is not supposed to be harmed. Quick spoiler for King of Scars and Rule of Wolves. If you've not read them, just go to this timestamp and yeah, I'm gonna put spoilers up. But if I'm remembering correctly, because it has been a minute and I got rid of the books, Jinya and David get married and then David dies? Does he die later? I feel like he dies later, but they did get married. And so Jinya finds the sketch of the ring with a ruby in it because that's what she said she liked. And I feel like he's live. I don't know. I feel like he should be though. It's not fair. They didn't say goodbye to, they didn't give him a proper send-off, so he has to be alive. That's the rule. You get a send-off. Kaz mentions that Inej has a brother. Did she always have a brother? I thought she was an only child. I don't remember. So this is where a lot of things for Crooked Kingdom came in that I was not expecting. Like Kaz confronting Pekka and be like, say my brother's name. Yeah, that doesn't happen until Crooked Kingdom. So it was interesting that that happened. Nikolai's brother Vasily has more of a role. I was not expecting that. He's an asshole, obviously. I was just like, when are you going to die? Can it happen now? Let's do that right now. I just didn't like him. I mean, the actor did a great job because I was disgusted by him, so kudos to you. I think they did well with the shadow monsters, aka the Nichivoya. They looked alright. I think Jinya finally got her eye patch. Happy about that. I mean, like, not happy that she needs an eye patch, but you know what I'm saying. The disciple storyline, that was an interesting addition. I feel like it was a good way for them to incorporate other saints because oh, I think I know partially why that happened. So Lee Bardugo does have a book that is sort of like the Book of Saints. I've never read it, probably won't ever read it. So I'm assuming that the disciple is mentioned in there. Again, spoilers for King of Scars, so if you haven't read it, go here. There's also the whole weird ass storyline in King of Scars where Zoya and Nikolai get kidnapped by saints and then the saint teaches Zoya how to be the avatar or whatever the fuck. So I'm assuming maybe that's why they did it, so that we become a little bit more familiar with more of the saints and not just Alina maybe. I don't know, that's just speculation. I hated that storyline. It was so weird. Not the disciple thing, the King of Scars, Rule of Wolves thing. If anybody's read that Saints book, let me know if that was in there because, I mean, it could have just been added just because, but I thought that was interesting. I also thought it was a good way to sort of give the crows a mission and have Tolya and Zoya with them. So that was an interesting pair up, I guess. The Darkling turning his mother into an amplifier. That's weird. That's weird. I like Baghra and I don't know, for some reason, I guess I thought we would get a little bit more time with her. Giving her bones to other Grisha, though, that was interesting. Pekka Rollins being in Hellgate with Matthias. I was not expecting that. I wasn't expecting Pekka to go to jail. I thought Kaz was gonna kill him, if anything. So I was surprised that that didn't happen, but I guess it'll be interesting to see how that goes, especially with the ice court heist, hopefully happening next season. Alina and Mao making out in the middle of the fold. That was a little weird. Time and place, this ain't it. Kaz giving Nikolai his cane as they go into the fold. That was so cute. I loved it. Alina saying to the Darkling that there is no redemption before she stabs him. Again, spoilers for King of Scars and Rule of Wolves. If you have not read that yet, go here. My thing is, I don't like redemption arcs. I have learned that very recently, especially with King of Scars though, because the whole Darkling coming back and then, you know, still being a fucking dick and then at the end sacrificing himself for them. Like, nobody wants a fucking redemption arc for the Darkling. Nobody gives a shit. But also, are you saying there is no redemption so that he can come back and redeem himself? And they burned his body, but did they really? Did they burn all of it? He said make sure nothing was left. Did y'all actually make sure? Like, if there's anything that y'all are gonna change, fucking change King of Scars, because that shit was trash. Nikolai's transformation, we didn't get a full transformation, but we did see him get attacked by the Nijivoya and the scars that it left. I guess we'll see that in the next one. I'm not sure how many seasons they have planned. Originally, I thought maybe they'd do one for each book, which would have been a lot, so I'm glad they're not doing that, but I don't want them to rush Six of Crows in Crooked Kingdom, though. I guess we'll find out what happens. So the ending with Alina saving Mal, the whole plan at the end of Ruin and Rising, the whole reason that Alina wanted to save Mal is so that they could be together, and they go and take over the orphanage in Crimson. However, here he goes off to be Stormhond now, and Inej goes with him with Tolya and Tamar and Nadia. And low-key, I was like, so we went through all this for y'all to not be together? He could have just died. I'm sure the mouse stands will love it, but I could have done without. Kaz and Inej. I didn't think we were gonna get the I'll have you without armor line yet. I do like him finally sharing his feelings and saying that he wants her, but I understand where Inej is coming from also. But then also there was a moment between Inej and Tolya when she got on the ship, and I was like, hold on now. Kaz is not going to like this. I don't like this either, or do I? Because I love Tolya and Inej. But again, Inej going and taking down slaver ships, that happens at the end of Crooked Kingdom. Her finding out that Kaz has been looking for her family, again, that happens at the end of Crooked Kingdom because Kaz goes and meets her family. So I don't know, all the timelines are mashed and I don't know how to feel about it. I also really like that Kaz is offering salaried positions to the girls in the menagerie. I think that's really nice. The Apparat came back at the end. I really honestly forgot about him, and he's still creepy as fuck. If we could just get rid of him, that'd be great, but I feel like he's gonna be back for the King of Scars storyline, which I don't love, but it is what it is. Also, the Jurda Purem came in. I totally forgot about that shit too. A Fjordan Grisha on Jurda Purem at the coronation attacks everyone, and Alina is able to wield shadows and she performs the cut. I still like the cut. I don't know, I just do. But now we're gonna have to deal with the consequences of her having shadow magic. We're gonna have to deal with Nikolai and his transformation. They're gonna deal with Jurda Purem. But it seems like the crows are gonna do that without Inej, and I don't like that. I don't like the crows being separated. I mean, fuck Matthias, I don't care about him. But I don't like Inej not being with the crew. So if I were going to have predictions or questions or expectations for season 3, I want the fucking ice court. Well, yeah, they have to get to the ice court first to go through Nina and Matthias's thing, and then Nina's story in King of Scars, if they're even still gonna do that, which honestly I didn't really like. I really hated Nina's perspective in King of Scars. It got better in Rule of Wolves, I think it was, but I hated that. So I don't know what they're gonna do. I just hope we get the ice court. That is my only wish for season 3. We have Alina says she wants to go to Shuhan, so she has to return the blade. So I guess that's another storyline that they can add in. I don't know. If I'm gonna rate this season, I think I give it like a 3.75, maybe a 4. It was still entertaining. I did watch it in like 2 days, but a lot of things weren't what I expected, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just don't know how I feel about it yet, and I don't know where we're going next. So I will definitely still watch season 3. I'm excited to see more of Inej, and if there is something with Tolya, honestly, I don't hate it. I'm not against it, but Inej and Kaz are still my fave. I love Rylan and Jesper together. They're so cute together. I definitely didn't love this season as much. I know people are gonna be mad that I said I didn't love Nikolai, but let me know if you watched season 2 of Shadow and Bone. What were your thoughts? What did you like? What did you dislike? Did you have any dislikes? I know a lot of people probably won't, and that's cool. Tell me what you liked about it. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today, and I will see you in the next video.